Smart 24, driving business.
A very good morning to you, our viewers. Welcome back to Financial Markets Show and today's edition, focusing on financial markets on a local basis, East African, as well as on a global basis. My name is Victor Chiberu, together with
Gloria.
And today we are going to go straight into updates from the Uganda Securities Exchange and see what is going on within Uganda in the world of financial markets. And going directly into the numbers, we want to see insights. We want to understand how all the percentages are playing out and how all these numbers are supposed to benefit and affect all investors as a whole. So, Gloria, what do you have for us from the Uganda Securities Exchange?
Well, Victor, looking at our last trading session on the Uganda Securities Exchange, we have some note what the improvements and updates from there and movements on the equities market. Let's start by looking at our trading summary and volume as of Monday. We had a total of around 71,810 shares that were traded. These were corresponding to a market value of around 11 million Ugandan shillings, and this marks a significant improvement compared to the previous trading day, showing a 485% increase in volume and an 817% increase in turnover.
Speaking of the Uganda Securities Exchange, those are really impressive numbers. But Gloria, what do you think caused this surge in the numbers?
Looking at the Uganda Securities Exchange, and of course we all know that there could be various factors affecting the various surges in the numbers on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Looking at various economic news, looking at their various financial statements and interests from various investors worldwide.
Indeed.
And looking at the USA listed equities that were actively traded yesterday, we have 5 gainers and 3 losers, where Centum Investment took the lead among the gainers with a notable 2.94% share price appreciation, closing at around 221.08 per share.
Well, Centum Investment seems to be on the rise, and any specific reasons behind this surge?
Well, it's always a challenging to actually pinpoint a single cause. Centum's positive performance could be influenced by various factors like strong financial results, the positive market statements, or specific industry trends. And it's also to dig deeper into the company's recent developments in terms of their share price and whatever goes on there.
Well, that is a really, really good insight from Gloria. But understanding gainers from the side of media companies, we want to set our eyes on Nation Media Group, and it was actually followed with a 0.91% increase, and KCB Group and Kenya Airways also experienced positive movements with a 0.8% and a 0.17% share price appreciation respectively.
And moving on to the losers who actually faced a challenging day, we have our East African breweries that led the losers by 1.09% share price depreciation. And we have it closing at around 2,943 shillings per share. We also have MTN Uganda and Jubilee Holdings that also recorded losses of 0.43% and 0.39% respectively.
Interesting dynamics in the market today. And what about the trading volumes? Any standouts on the performers?
Indeed, Victor. MTN actually took the lead with an impressive 64,775 traded shares, followed by Standard Bank Uganda with 6,995 traded shares, and Airtel Uganda with 40 shares that were traded.
Well, we are starting to see some activity playing out for Airtel as of the previous trading day, but hopefully we're yet to see more activity coming in from the telecommunication giants and the competition that is going, the stiff competition that is yet expected to build more productivity from these entities. But moving on to the market indices, it is always important actually to keep a crucial eye and on the actively traded stocks and how the market indices are affecting these different sectors of the economy. So, Gloria, what do you have for us from the benchmark, the all-share index, and all the others that fall through?
We're looking at the USA all-share index that experienced a slight dip of around 1.04 points, which could be a 0.12% to close at around 894.75. So this reflects a 1-week loss of 2.01%, a 4-week loss of 2.54%, and a year-to-date loss of 26.21%. And similarly, we have the USE local company index that decreased by 0.15% to around 279.48 points. This resulting into a 1-week loss of 0.45%, a 4-week loss of 0.07%, and a year-to-date gain of 2.75%.
Impressive movements from the all-share index. But the index is actually providing a broader perspective on overall market health. And despite losses, we are looking at a year-to-date gain in the local share, in the local company index, which is actually encouraging as we speak.
Exactly, and it's also essential for our investors to consider both the individual stock movements and the broader market trends when making informed market decisions.
Indeed. But focusing on the gainers, before we wrap up or the updates for today on the Uganda Securities Exchange, we want to take a close eye on the gainers, as well as what exactly is happening with the Airtel and the 40 shares and what we are to expect. So, Gloria, any information from one of the gainers?
Well, looking at one of the gainers, actually, we could look out for our East African breweries and see how
it's a lovely choice, and
how it went down on their stock exchange as of yesterday.
Indeed, looking at it, it's a cross-listed equity, and it was quite a tough situation for the entity as they were wrapping up the previous month. But Gloria, what do you have for us in terms of numbers?
We're looking at our East African breweries. In terms of numbers, the company actually closed at around 0.2 million as of yesterday. So East African Breweries is actually a public limited company incorporated under the laws of the Republic of Kenya, as we all know, founded in around 1922. It's a group holding company actually for the East African Brewing Concern in East Africa, with an annual turnover of around $325 million. East African Breweries actually owns around 100 shares in Kenya's breweries, Central Glass and Kenya's Maltings. In Uganda, it also owns around 93% of Uganda Breweries Limited, and in Tanzania, 86% of Kibo's breweries.
Well, that is quite an update, Gloria, that you have from the East African breweries, and it's quite a familiar entity. Actually, we've been seeing movement from it and Umeme as of the shares have been moving along together. When one goes up, the other goes up as well. But going into the numbers, Gloria, what was the share price that they closed at as of the previous trading day?
Well, currently right now we don't have a share price from East African Breweries.
Okay.
Yeah, currently we don't have an update from them. But moving on to Airtel Uganda, one of our last listed equities, or what we know as the recent listed equity on the Uganda Securities Exchange. This was in November 7, 2023. It's actually traded under the ticker symbol of Airtel, just in case you're interested in investing in Airtel Uganda. And looking into the numbers, Airtel actually closed its last trading day at 100 Ugandan shillings per share. So this was of Monday 13th, 2023, and this is what we have from Airtel Uganda. Indeed.
Actually, their market capitalization as we speak is at 436 billion, which is quite the number. But we'll be glad to provide more information from Airtel Uganda, and we are positive that our insights from financial markets are going to determine your decisions on a positive note.
Exactly. Then moving on to the Nairobi Securities Exchange, Victor, another also dynamic concerning the financial market show, where we also unravel various equities on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. We have got many stocks on the NSE spanning across various sectors and segments. And in today's last trading summary, we provide a comprehensive view and we see how it went down as of yesterday. What do you have for us?
Diving into the details, the Nairobi Securities Exchange has a diverse array of stocks, and we're including banking, manufacturing, we're looking at energy and more. But let's highlight a few movers from today's trading session. We are looking at Absa Bank Kenya, and for instance, it actually had a trading volume of about 76,400, and it was closing at 10.75 with a slight decline of 0.10%.
Exactly, and the NSE has actually 4 market listing categories. This includes the main investment market, the alternative investment market, and the fixed income securities market segment, and growth enterprises market segment. So it's actually fascinating to see how these various segments actually work on the NSE trading sessions. And it's also notable that NSE has a diverse number of stocks, including those from banking, manufacturing, and more.
Indeed, but it is crucial also to keep an eye on banking stocks. So just to give you an insight on the cement sector, we're looking at Bamburi Cement and ARM Cement Limited, both that made appearances today, but with no significant price movements from Bamburi. But the recent trading session closed with their share price at 22.50, while ARM Cement didn't show much activity.
And moving on to other sectors, looking at, let me say, the insurance companies, we have Jubilee Holdings that recorded a positive movement, closing at around 182.00 Kenyan shillings per share, a gain of 1%. Conversely, we have Britam Holdings that Limited that showed actually a modest increase of 0.11%, closing at 4.91 Kenyan shillings per share.
Well, really interesting dynamics in the insurance sector. Now, let's talk about the overall trading summary for the day.
Well, certainly we have a significant movement, Victor. We had a total of around 61,500,087 shares that were traded in around 1,048 deals, with a market capitalization of around 8 billion, actually 800,037,000. This represents a 187% increase in volume and a 181 surge in turnover compared with the previous trading sessions.
Well, that is some valuable insight from the Nairobi Securities Exchange. But moving on to volume and turnover, they saw actually substantial growth, and the number of deals experienced a slight decline of 9%. And it's essential actually to consider that all factors are important when assessing activity of these markets.
Absolutely. Now, exploring the gainers and losers for the day, we have Cooperative Bank of Kenya that led the gainers with a notable 4.41% share price appreciation, closing at 10.65 per share.
Well, on the flip side, we are looking at stocks with challenges, and Standard Group had a challenging day with a significant price depreciation of 6.1%, closing at 5.54 shares, Kenyan shillings per share. And BK Group, Unga Group, as well as TransCentury also experienced losses.
Exactly. Now, essential for investors to stay informed about both gainers and losers. Now, looking into the volumes, Victor, what actually stood out?
Well, we're looking at Safaricom that particularly recorded the highest trading volume with a whooping 59.1 million traded shares, and KCB Group, Equity Holdings, and Kengen also saw some substantial increase in trading volumes.
Exactly, and Safaricom seems to attract significant attention as always. Now, shifting our focus to the market indices like the NSE All Share Index that moved up by 0.63 points. This actually is wrapped up to around 0.71% to close at 88.95%. What do you think these figures indicate?
Well, the all-share index definitely reflects a one-week gain of 3.74% and a four-week gain of 5.06%, as well as an overall year-to-date of 30.22%. So it is always crucial for investors to track these indices to understand the broader market trends.
Well, and looking into part of our top gainers as of yesterday's trading session, we have Cooperative Bank of Kenya Limited, which is actually a Kenya-based company that offers banking and related services. The company is actually primarily involved in cooperative and retail banking, investment and asset management in various parts of Kenya. But diving straight up into the numbers, this bank actually closed at 11.55 Kenyan shillings per share on its last trading session, recording a 4.4% gain over its last closing price, which was 10.20 Kenyan shillings. So Cooperative actually began the year with a share price of 12.30 Kenyan shillings, but has since lost 13.4% of this share price valuation, ranking it at 42nd on the Nairobi Securities Exchange.
So, Gloria, do you have any information on the position the bank holds on the Securities Exchange at large?
Well, looking at its position, is actually the 60th most traded stock on Nairobi Securities Exchange over the past 3 months. This is August 14th to November 10th, 2023. And this bank has actually traded out total volume of around 36 million shares in around 287 deals valued at around 418 million Kenyan shillings over the period. This leaves us with an average of around 571,000 traded shares per session and a volume of around 10.1 million that was achieved on October 3rd, and a low of 46,500 on August 31st for the same period.
That is quite something from the bank, and we're seeing some really promising performance from the stock exchange as well. Let's not forget the Nairobi Securities Exchange is also listed on its own exchange, which is a really big step into the development of the stock exchange as itself. But Gloria, any information on the notable indices?
Well, the notable indices like the all-share index and the company index quite had an astonishing day as of yesterday, and we saw quite some movements there where we had some losses and gains at large. But moving on to one of our most traded shares, part of our most traded shares, we have Century Limited. That is actually a Kenya-based company engaged in power, transport, infrastructure, and engineering across Africa. And looking at its numbers, actually it closed its last trading day at 0.53 Kenyan shillings per share. So just in case you're interested in investing in this one, it's quite a cheap one. And this is also recording a drop of 1.9% from its previous closing price of around 0.53 Kenyan shillings per share. Century began the year with around 0.93 Kenyan shillings, but has lost around 44.1% of that share price valuation.
Well, thank you very much for all those insights, Gloria. But just to focus a little bit on the all-share index, it actually saw a one-week gain of 3.74%, a four-week loss of 5.06%, and an overall year-to-date of 30.22%. But the 10-share index saw a 0.79 increase, leaving us with a one-week gain of 0.54% and a year-to-date loss of 10.45%. The 20-share index also performed rather well with a 0.27% rise, a one-week loss of 1.61%, and a year-to-date loss of 15.27%. And lastly, the 20-share index moved up by 0.57%, reflecting a one-week gain of 0.21% and a year-to-date loss of 26.2%. Now, those have been the highlights of the performance of the financial markets within East Africa, particularly, and we have seen the entities and how they are performing, how they're reacting to investor sentiment and different market conditions as they fall due. But we will be going into a short break and we'll be back with more valuable insights on financial markets. Don't change your dial.
Smart 24, driving business.
Luxury redefined at Seasan Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy, exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasan Hotel. So visit today at Plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasan Hotels, luxury redefined.
Cooking oil like no other makes your meal so sweet and scrumptious. The taste of Uganda, yeah, the taste of Uganda, yeah, the taste of Uganda. Jovia.
Ng'oyolekera ku lugendo luno olw'obulamu, nkuwa ekirabo eky'amaanyi agatazizibwa, amaanyi okulabibwa n'okuwulirwa mu mawanga ag'ewala ennyo, okutuuka buli wamu nga yadde togenzeeyo, ensi yonna ng'ekuli mu ngalo. Okutambula mu biseera n'okumanya buli kimu ekirina okumanyibwa. Jovia, kino kye kirabo kyange gy'oli.
Tewali kkubo ku ki ky'osobola okukola ku mukutu nnandameggwa ogwa MTN.
Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome back from that short break from the previous financial market show. But diving straight into the rest of Africa, we're looking at the JSE, or the Johannesburg Securities Exchange, and looking at what went down as of yesterday. We have quite some numbers going ups and downs. So the JSE is actually known for its dynamic movements, and today's trading summary, this is looking at Monday, 13th November 2023, providing us with a comprehensive look into the market's performance. And breaking down the numbers, the JSE actually saw around 200 million shares that were traded as of yesterday in around 272,104 deals, with a market capitalization of around 15 billion rands. So comparing this with the previous trading day, we notice a 2% improvement in volume, a 10% decline in turnover, and a 15% decline in the number of deals. So it's been quite a mix of metrics actually. So the increase in the various trading volumes indicates an active participation in the market, while in declining turnover and deals suggests a more selective approach by investors. This would be actually an intriguing factor to explore the factors contributing to these various market dynamics. So before we dive into the specifics, actually, we could touch the market capitalization. The current market capitalization on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange right now stands at 17.3 trillion rands, which is actually a good sign to see on this robust market capitalization. So a substantial market capitalization actually signifies the overall value of its various listed companies on the JSE Stock Exchange. It's actually a key indicator of the market's strength and attractiveness to the various investors. The fact that it's holding around 17.3 trillion indicates its confidence in the South African market. Looking up to the individual equities that were traded yesterday, we had around 311 listed companies that participated in trading, resulting into 170 gainers and 123 losers. We have South and Pandium that took the lead among the gainers with an impressive 37.16% share price appreciation, closing at around 5.50 rands per share. So the story behind this company actually is a remarkable performer, and this could be attributed to various factors ranging from the positive company news, strong financial results, or even broader industry trends. So investors actually seem to have responded favorably in terms of buying capital and stocks from this company. So it's actually always intriguing to see how these various companies and these substantial movements come about in the companies. But looking at other notable gainers, we have Zeda that recorded a notable gain of around 14.5%, followed by Sab Zenzele Kabiri with a 9.59% increase, and Texton Property Fund with an 8.23% uptick. And looking on the flip side, we have Wando as the biggest loser, experiencing actually a significant end-of-day price depreciation of 45.45%, closing at around 0.06 rands per share. So this could have actually been brought about various factors to bring up this sharp decline in Wando's performance. So looking at Wando's steep decline raises questions about potential challenges the company might be facing. It's actually crucial for investors to look into the specific circumstances behind such significant price movements. So looking at other losers and notable worthy mentions, we have Purple Group that faced a substantial loss of around 12.86%, followed by Accelerate Property Fund with a 12.5% decrease, and Montauk Renewables actually with 10.4% dip. So it's very essential for investors to stay informed about the gainers and the losers to make well-informed decisions. And shifting our focus to the trading volumes, we have Redefined Properties that led the pack with around 24.8 million traded shares, followed by Growth Point Properties with 14.9 million. And we also have Sebane Stillwater with 8.51 million traded shares, and MTN Group with 8.06 million. So looking at these numbers, we are looking at what actually stands out the most, and Redefined Properties and Growth Point Properties, being real estate companies, often attract substantial trading highs and volumes, and it suggests continued interest in these sectors. When we look at Sebane Stillwater, with its presence in the mining industry, is actually also a notable participant, and we expect such changes from it. So we're looking at other indices. Actually, this is the performance indices on the JSE market. We have the JSE All Share Index, the J203, that climbed up by 239.87 points. This actually corresponds to around 0.34, actually 0.34%, to close at around 71,633.17. This reflects a 1-week loss of 2.27%, a 4-week loss of 2.07%, and an overall year-to-date loss of 1.94%. So looking at these market analysis concerning these yearly figures, the JSE's All Share Index slightly uptick is actually not worthy considering its various recent losses. It suggests a potential stabilization or even a modest recovery. So investors should actually keep a close eye out on this one if you really want to get notable gains from it. And looking at other key indices, we have the mid-cap index that showed a positive movement of around 0.65%, with a 1-week loss of 1.88% and a year-to-date loss of 5.1%. So the JSE Flooding Index experienced a 0.46 increase, reflecting a 1-week gain of 0.71% and a year-to-date loss of 9.84%. So the JSE Top 40 Index actually saw a 0.34% rise and a 1-week loss of 2.52% and a year-to-date loss of 1.94%. It's actually also crucial for investors to keep track on the performance of these various indices, as they indicate the performance majorly on all companies in various groups. And looking at the overall broader market trends and our closing thoughts, our trading activity on the JSE showcase a mix of positive and challenging movements, and investors should actually conduct further research before actually investing your money in a company. And these various individual stocks and these market trends tend to make well-informed decisions. As always, the dynamic nature of a market in this also provides opportunities and risks. So that's what we have. The JSE's trading session as of yesterday is trading day. But looking on to the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Nigeria is also another big bull actually when it comes to market and trading capitalization in Africa. So the Nigerian Stock Exchange had quite an eventful day, and looking at its various interesting dynamics in trading today, we're looking into its market performance, which was around, we saw around 474,386,602 shares that were traded in 7,603 shares deals, and a market value of around 7 trillion in Nigerian naira. Now, comparing this with our previous trading day, we observe a 15% decline in volume, a 39% improvement in turnover, and a 21% improvement in the number of deals. So it was quite an interesting mix of these metrics, and the decrease in volume may suggest slightly a quiet day in terms of trading and shares changing hands on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. But the significant movement and improvement in turnover and deals indicates that the market is still experiencing a robust and increased investor participation. So before we actually dive into the specifics, let's touch the market capitalization. Looking into the Nigerian market capitalization, it right now stands at 38.8 trillion Nigerian naira, which is always a positive sign to see a healthy market capitalization. And a robust market capitalization, as we see on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, is a testament for the overall strength and value of its various listed equities. It actually indicates that confidence in the Nigerian market and could be assuring for the investors out there. But looking into our individual equities, we have the 123 NSE-listed companies that participated in trading, resulting into 26 gainers and 19 losers. We have aluminium extrusion industries that led the gainers with an impressive 10% share price appreciation, closing at around 7.15 Nigerian naira per share. What could have driven these significant thoughts, if you could ask? Well, aluminium extrusion industries is a notable performer on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and it could be attributed to various factors such as the positive company news on these various strong financial results or even broader industry trends. So investors actually must have been really responding positively to this particular company, which would be a catalyst at play. So looking at these various fascinating movements on the Nigerian Stock Exchange and other gainers worth mentioning, we have RT Briscoe that recorded a notable 10% gain, followed by Mercure Industries with a 9.95 increase, and MC Nicholas with a 9.84% uptick. Now on the flip side, we are looking at JPAL Gold and Ventures as the biggest loser, experiencing a significant end-of-day price depreciation of around 9.09%, closing at around 1.80 Nigerian naira per share. So JPAL and Gold Ventures declines raises questions about potential challenges that the company could be facing, and investors actually should actually dive into the specifics of the company's situation to understand reasons behind this significant price drop. Notable losers, we have BUA Cement that faced a substantial loss of around 7.76%, followed by Vetris Capital Assurance with around 7.41% decrease, and Universal Insurance Company with a 4% dip. So it's actually essential for investors to stay informed about both gainers and losers to make well-informed decisions. And shifting our focus to the trading volumes, we have Fidelity Bank that led the pack with 94 million traded shares, followed by JP Gold again and Ventures with 66 million traded shares, and United Bank of Africa with 54.9 million shares, and area with 26 million traded shares. So however much JP Gold was actually among the losers as of yesterday, it still stands out in terms of traded stocks on the market. So this means it's actually a big dog in terms of the exchanges on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And Fidelity Bank's high trading volume actually indicates investor interest. It's always interesting to see such good activity when it comes to the banking sector. JP Gold and Ventures attracting this substantial attention also suggests volatility and interest in this particular stock. And shifting our attention to the performance on the Nigerian Stock Exchange market indices, we are looking at their all share index that shed around 236.57 points. This corresponds to around 0.33% to close at around 70,612.81. So this actually reflects a 1 week gain of 0.19%, a 4 week gain of 5.33%, and an overall year-to-date gain of around 37.78%. So looking at these figures, the slight dip on the Nigerian Stock Exchange All-Share Index is noteworthy, especially considering the recent gains. So it could be a natural correction over a long-term and positive momentum, and the overall year-to-date gain is still substantial, reflecting a resilience in the Nigerian market. But looking into other indices, we have the Nigerian Top 50 Index that showed a slight increase of 0.09%, with a one-week gain actually of 1.04%, and an impressive year-to-date gain of 45.27%. The Nigerian Top 30 Index actually experienced a modest decline of around 0.37%, with a one-week gain of 0.06% and a year-to-date gain of 40.81%. And looking at the Nigerian Premium Index, that also rose up by 0.91%, reflecting a one-week gain of 1.39% and a year-to-date gain of 41.48%. So it's also crucial for investors actually to track these indices and to understand the broader market trends. And overall, looking at the closing session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, it showcased a mix of positive and challenging movements. So investors should actually conduct further research into the individual stocks and the market trends and make informed decisions. And as always, the dynamic market of the various indices out there, it has both opportunities and risks. So thank you for joining us today on our financial markets show. We'll be back tomorrow with more insights concerning with the rest of the world and the various indices alongside. Thank you.
Smart 24, driving business.